Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And guys, let me tell you, in the past 24 hours I've developed a stump for a tongue as I've bitten it so much. About guess who? Ed and his brand new lady love. Well, that ends here. I'm about to give you a series of videos and I'm going to let rip. So yes, if you haven't guessed it, I've been watching The Single Life and I watched it all day yesterday. I wasn't going to bother, but happily ever after was, how shall we say, calm. That's the best way I can describe it, so I thought Ed might be a bit more fun. Yep, that's right, the eBird's been watching The Single Life, so you guys don't have to. So if you've yet to do so, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the like button if you enjoy these reviews. And pressing the like really does help with my analytics, so if you possibly can, that would be great. So without further ado, I give you Big Ed. So Ed, as we all know, is a walking, talking hate crime on women. And for any viewers who don't yet know Big Ed, lucky you. I really wish I didn't. Ed is a 54-year-old man who's from San Diego, California. And he's currently looking for what he's always looking for, a much younger woman. And last time Big Ed lit up our screen, he was busy disrespecting his 23-year-old Filipino girlfriend, Rose. And I wondered to myself, has he learned any lessons? Has he turned over a new leaf? Well, all will be revealed. So when we first see Ed, for some inexplicable reason, he's wearing an Elvis suit. Oh good lord, that image is forever burned into my retina. So the premise of this whole show is that they've got lots of single people and Ed is one of them, and they're going to be internet dating, and we're going to follow them on their journey, catcalling, booing and throwing eggs whilst they look for love. So Ed tells us costumes are a great way to break the ice. If you look like that, Ed, no they're not. And he said, I know I need to lose a few pounds, and the rest. But both personality and confidence are what women are attracted to. And straight away this makes me laugh because Ed is putting himself in the category of people that have got a scintillating personality and oodles of confidence. But as far as I'm concerned, Big Ed is one of the least confident people I've ever come across. His so-called confidence is basically all bravado. And as for his personality, well, I'll let you decide. But one thing I can say, dressed up in this Elvis suit, nobody is going to take him seriously. Ed, most women want a bloke, not a joke. So Ed's delusional abilities kick in right away, and he's filling in an online form for dating sites. He's on 6 at the moment, but he says he might add another couple. And as he's clicking, guys, I genuinely can't believe it. He puts body size average. Body size average? Ed, you think you're average? Ed, you're 5 foot and you're, how can we say, rather large. That's not average, it really isn't. And at this point, I want to do a Ron Ship style, tell the truth, Ed. But alas, he won't. He can't, for he's a liar. But Ed's starting out as he means to go on, in the midst of a massive lie. And then Ed goes over that he's now living with his mum. She does all his washing and washes his hair. He really is a big baby. And then he tells us what an utter scumbag he was to Rose. Of course he didn't, but we know he was. So the next time we catch up with Ed, he's off to a restaurant. Oh wow, it must be date number 1. Somebody must have said yes. And he sits down at a table and a beautiful young woman appears. Her name's Sapphire and she's from Israel. Guys, she's rather beautiful. How has Ed pulled this off? But alas, it turns out to be his dating coach. She has got very white teeth. And Ed tells us, I think I need professional help. Yes, Ed. Yes, you do. You're not wrong. And Ed sits down with the dating coach and he proves to us all what a systematic liar he is. He said, I've never felt that I deserve to be loved. More like if you ever are loved, you repel the woman with your awful ways. But the dating coach peps him up. And she wants to know, what are you looking for? He's looking for a woman aged anything between 28 and 48. 28, Ed? You're 54. Guys, I find him simply unbelievable. And he wants someone who's slim and good looking. Excuse me, Ed, you said not 10 seconds ago that the most important things were confidence and personality. No, I thought not. And he explains to her that he fancies a waitress in a restaurant he goes to. And the dating coach says, do you know what, next time you go in, try to talk to her and ask her out on a date. And Ed says, I'm going to take the bull by the horns, I will. And next time we see Ed, he's meeting up with 2 of his friends, Claudia and Rich. He's known them for 15 years. And he tells them of his search for love. They tell him his hair's too long. That's the least of his concerns. But Ed lets them know he believes he looks like Keanu Reeves. And then he starts telling them about this girl at the restaurant that he fancies, this waitress. They ask her age. She's 29. Unsurprisingly, both of them think she's far too young. And he says, I'm not attracted to women my own age. Ed, you're not attracted to women out of their 20s. And apparently she's a manager of this restaurant and she drinks with him after work every day. And they get on very, very well. She's got a great personality. Well, maybe if she's drunk, she hasn't managed to know your personality yet, Ed. We can only hope. And he said he's going to ask her out this very evening. So before he asks this waitress out, he goes over what he wants to say with a friend. And he says, I want to take you out. I want to get to know you better. I think you're amazing. Yep, that's it. I want to take you out. I want to get to know you better. I think you're amazing. It's fairly basic, but I guess she's going to get the idea immediately at least. It's better than him saying, do you want to come out for a bite to eat? And her agreeing as a friend, at least this way she's going to know what's on his mind. And so at the end of her shift, Liz comes over. And guys, very luckily for her, she had a face mask on. I guess they protect us all from both COVID and Ed shock. And as far as I'm concerned, that was her saving grace, because Ed starts out on his little speech and he said, I want to get to know you. I think you're amazing. I want to ask you out on a date so I can get to know you better. Okay, Ed, we've deviated from the script just a little bit, but never mind. And this girl, it turns out, her name's Liz, looked at him for ages. She just stared at him, but we couldn't see what she was saying because the face mask saved her. She did about 120 blinks a second. And Ed said, can I take you out tomorrow night? And she said, no, I'm busy. Lunchtime? No, I'm busy. I can do brunch. And she agrees to go on a date with him. But later to production, she said she was completely baffled. And she sees him as a really good friend, but nothing else. And Ed celebrates as if he's won the lottery. You probably have, Ed. 3 numbers. You'll get about a tenner. Guys, she doesn't look massively keen, but at least I guess she's agreed to go out with him. That's a step in the right direction. But she does tell producers that she was entirely baffled, and she's surprised that Ed's asked her out. So next time we see Ed, he's getting ready with his mum. She's brushing his hair, and she puts his hair in a little plait. He tells his mum, I'm going to go in for the kiss. This is typical vintage Ed. You give him an inch and he wants to take a mile. Why are you talking about kissing her and you haven't even been out on the first date? He's both delusional and unbelievable. So Ed meets up with Liz the very next evening, and they have a drink and they have a chat. When she arrives, the producers ask her, how are you feeling? And she said, I'm feeling kind of excited, a little bit nervous, but I'm proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone. What? Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. I can see how this is going to go. Guys, she's looking at Ed and she's thinking, okay, you're not as tall as I normally like them. You're not as good looking as I normally like them. So basically, you're going to pander to my every need. That little statement there tells me I'm sick of going out with F-boys or bad boys. I now want somebody who's going to really put me on a pedestal and take care of me like the queen that I am. Oh, Liz, that ain't Ed. Honestly, Ed will treat you worse than an NFL star. He really will. So they sit down to chat and it's all rather awkward. A lot of, well, hi, yeah, how are you? Here we are. And then she tells him, I wore my flip-flops specifically so we could height match. Guys, I didn't really like this. That's the kind of thing that if you're going to do it, you do it and you say nothing. Liz, do you want a gold star or something? And he asks her about relationships. She said that she's been married twice and neither of the marriages were good. She said, the divorces have left me with major trust issues and I don't even talk about my second marriage. Liz, you just did. And she says, I feel completely damaged. And Ed was very nice for once and he said, don't you ever call yourself that. Don't call yourself damaged. What you are is experienced. You have life experience. And it's possibly the first nice thing I've ever heard Ed say. Maybe he has turned over a new leaf. Maybe. And they chit chat about him and Rose and her ex, and it turns out she's got kids as well. And at the end of the date, she told production that she thought things went well, but she split up with her ex just 2 months ago, so she's not sure how she feels. And that's where we leave things for this part of the video. So what does the Ebird make from all of this? Well, the first thing is, typical Ed. Ed wants someone 30 years his junior. What's wrong with him? He says, I'm a big kid and I'm young at heart. Honestly, guys, I think I know what it is. I think that Ed's view of himself is so negative that he thinks if I can just pull a really fit girl, I can prove to everybody that I'm actually a really worthwhile person. And I'm great because I can pull a girl just as fit as the girl that you could pull. And there's 2 problems with this. Firstly, he doesn't behave well enough to pull a good girlfriend as a not so good looking guy. You have to be really nice to keep them sweet. They're not running on pheromones now, you know, Ed. And Ed is, how can we say, rather mean, rather self-absorbed and rather selfish when it comes down to brass tacks. I mean, maybe he's changed, maybe he's self-reflected, but somehow I doubt it. But the second thing is, he's always moaning about how people look at him and judge him for his look, and they won't take a punt on a shorter guy or a bigger guy. But that's exactly what you do. You won't take a punt on a shorter or less good looking or bigger girl or even older woman. You won't take a punt. You only want A1 girls. This girl Liz is a very good looking girl. She doesn't wear a lot of makeup and she's very natural looking, and to look good sans makeup is quite some feat. So what Ed tells the universe that he has the right to have, people not judge him by his looks, is exactly what he does to other people. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Ed's barking up the wrong tree? Do you think that this girl Liz is genuine? Or do you think she's a bit of a shyster? The jury's still out for the Ebird. And do you think that Ed's massively two-faced for wanting something that he's not prepared to give himself? I.e. a chance to someone who isn't A1 perfect. So please let me know in comments down below. And I'm going to get straight on and do my next video. I'm going to put these videos out one after another until we've covered the whole story. If you've yet to do so, please consider pressing subscribe to my channel. And also it helps me most of all if you press like on the video, so please remember to do that. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.